Alrighty, so we're in it with the Q&A from the other day. Posted on Instagram, I would be doing a question and answer. Thank you to everyone who posted a question, greatly appreciated. Let me see if I can find the damn post. Here we go. We had 40, we got 40 questions. Just due to like time, probably not gonna hit on everyone, but I'll do my best to get through them. Let's see what we got. Let's just start from the top. The Swole Fesser. The Swole Fesser. Oh, okay, I know my boy, the Swole Fesser. Fellow YouTuber. Actually, he's a real YouTuber. I don't really do it, I just pretend. His question was, what first got you into powerlifting and eventually coaching? So pretty much the way I got started, growing up, I was always into sports. So throughout middle school, basketball, football, throughout high school, I just focused on basketball. And then following high school, you know, no sports to play, always wanted to stay active and always liked being active. So the gym was the alternative after high school. So started lifting at one of the local gyms. It was like kind of an old school bodybuilding gym, really cool atmosphere. A lot of the members were into heavy lifting, but also like bodybuilding. So where I started is kind of how I got into the style of training that I still like to do now. Obviously I'm more powerlifting specific because I compete in powerlifting now, but I've always liked to lift heavy, but also get in a lot of bodybuilding work, accessories to look the part and also be strong. And then coaching just came organically from that. Had some good success myself. Built a lot of muscle and strength over the years. And then it was probably right around when I was 23, 24, getting on social media. I actually just started getting training inquiries. I wasn't even promoting it, didn't offer it. People just wanted to know if I could program for them or help them with a training plan. So, of course, I wanted to help others. I just said yes. A lot of those first people, I just did it for free because I wanted to see if my training principles worked with others, which a lot of what I do is fairly basic. You know, a lot of heavy compound movements, a big focus on the squat, bench, and deadlift, accessory movements to work on the areas that maybe are neglected with the squat, bench, and deadlift, with isolation movements. And it kind of just took off from there. Once I started competing, learning more about powerlifting specific training and programming, that I just naturally started gravitating towards those people. They seen what I was doing, again, via social media. So then people who were also interested in powerlifting reached out to me. And now I'm pretty specific in who I coach. It's mostly powerlifting or strength training. Not everyone is a competitive powerlifter, but mostly everyone is interested in getting stronger, along with probably improving body composition, adding more muscle mass. Obviously, that's never a bad thing. I rambled on way too long with that. That was only question one. I'm gonna try and at least get through like 10 of these. So this one's a cool one. This is the second question from Scott Lim 5. All right, Colin, what's your death row meal of choice? That's a good one. That's a really good one. I like that. I think it would be between two things. Pretty basic. I'm saying a steak, like a ribeye steak, as big as we can get, or hot wings. I don't know what it is. I think I'm a wing addict. I eat wings like every day. If we're ever at a restaurant and there's appetizers, always getting wings. I don't know. I probably eat way too many of them, but that's why I train hard, so I can eat whatever the fuck I want. Here's one from Hayden Weddle. What other squat variations do you incorporate into your training? Box squats, front squats, etc. So my favorite variations for the squat are, it's probably tied. There's two that are probably tied: the pause squat and the tempo squat. And the pause squat that I like to use is a pause in the hole. In my opinion, that's the hardest part. When you go down on the squat, you get into the bottom of the hole, coming out of that position is the hardest. So if you are pausing there, the explosiveness you develop from a pause squat and also the ability to brace and maintain position is going to transfer into your competition squat. Pretty similar with the tempo squat. What it forces you to do is maintain control, maintain positioning, teaches you to brace properly. And from what I've found, the thing that has worked the most, especially with advanced lifters even, is incorporating the tempo squat. It's taken my squat from around 500 to my last competition was 600, and one of the big differences was that I incorporated more tempos. Probably a lot of you guys are familiar with Hung. He's a Warehouse Gym member, just a freakishly strong kid. He was hitting low fours on a squat. We've been focusing a lot on tempo squats. He just crushed 515 the other day. I have countless clients that I could reference here after incorporating the tempo squat, a dramatic increase in their competition squat. This one is from DDD or DD dot. It just says powerlifting program 4-day split. So I'm assuming they are asking if I was to put together a 4-day split, what it would look like. I don't even know if that's a question, but I'm going to turn it into a question. We'll just make it, if I'm training 4 days, what is it going to look like? For me personally, it might be 3 squat days, 2 deadlift days, 2 to 3 bench days. For somebody who's novice or just getting started into powerlifting or strength training, I might say 2 squat days, 1 deadlift, 2 bench days. Maybe, again, it all depends on athletic background, experience. You know, if they're a complete beginner and don't have much athletic background, it might be just one squat day, 1 bench day, 1 deadlift day. So it's kind of a tough one to answer. This one's from B like Drex V Triple I don't know, man. These names are too in depth. How often do you do extra work at the end of your original workout? Every training day. So every training day that I do, and mostly all of my clients, it's going to start with a primary movement, a secondary movement, and then at least 2 accessories that are going to support that primary. So for an example, I would say like on a squat day, I might hit my competition squat, then I might go into like a deadlift variation. So maybe I do RDLs, and then 2 accessories might just be a leg extension and a leg curl. Just to kind of make it simple, that would be an example of a training day. Here's one from Scotty Bankshot. How much or how often do you do mobility work? What is your favorite stretch or dynamic warm-up? So, how often or how much do I do mobility work? The answer is not enough. I have been incorporating it more as the years have gone on because my body has pretty much told me, hey, you need to do it or else you're not going to be healthy enough to progress. I would encourage you guys to not wait until that point. Be more proactive, add in your mobility work. You know, once you get done the training day, add in stretching, add in a 10-minute cool down walk. Those small details and some of that more tedious stuff will really make a world of difference as time goes on. In the short term, it's going to feel like, I can get away with just doing what I'm doing. Give it a couple of years of training hard and hitting a lot of heavy compound movements. You're going to wish that you started earlier. So what I do now is at least add in the 10-minute walk post-workout. It's just a 10-minute cool down. I walk on like speed 3 and I put it on a slight incline, and then after that I'll normally stretch. A big focus for me is like the hip flexors and anything like posterior chain, pecs. Always get very tight pecs, you know, pec minor into the delt, just simply because of how much I'm benching. You know, it's 3 times a week bench, it catches up with you. Here's one from Natalie Mihan. How often should one test at 1 rep max? This is a good question. A lot of beginners can get away with testing more frequently. Maybe every 4 weeks would be reasonable. I know a lot of you probably retest once a week. In the very beginning, again, you'll get away with that. As time goes on, you're gonna have to spread out any type of retests. Typically for myself, I will retest on meet day. So for me, it might be 3 months to 3 to 4 months if I'm in between meets. I don't test out a 1 rep max in training. For me, training days are too valuable to be overreaching on a daily basis. So what I have to do is be very patient, hold back a lot of days. There's plenty of days where I am feeling good and maybe there is a PR, a 1 rep max PR that I want to go for, but I have to, you know, I hold back because what counts for me is on meet day. So, you know, for you guys, if you're advanced, that would be my recommendation, is hold off until meet day. But if you're novice to intermediate, yeah, you can retest a little more frequently. Maybe every 4 to 6 weeks, you would actually go through an actual retest. And as time goes on, that time should spread. So once you go from novice to intermediate, maybe intermediate, it's every 6 to 8 weeks. Eventually, I would hope that you're getting into proper periodization, you're planning, you're training out in a little bit longer time frame. So instead of just thinking about the week of, maybe you're thinking about your month, and then maybe even 2 months, 3 months. Start getting into planning out a whole training cycle, or at least have an idea of what you want to do. The details can, you know, come in later. A lot of times what I do is have a general idea of what I want to do. One block will be set up at a time, and as I go, I kind of adjust how the, you know, according to how the training's going. Here's one from Mikey Poles. Just seen him the other day in Warhouse. How often, or how do you break up your training cycles between meets? Example, post-Arnold to Nationals. So, somewhat hit on it in the last question, but so Nationals was in October. From October to March, I had about, I think it was like 20 some weeks. So those first the first block was a lot of variation. I went completely beltless, a lot more accessories. Even into like the second block, it was still looking somewhat similar, a lot of variation, a lot more accessory work. And now as we're 12 to 16 weeks out, that's when I start increasing the competition movements, volume, frequency, accessories get cut back a little bit. Here's one from my uncle. Why does the rower scare you so much? Good one, that's a good one. And the reason it scares me is because I have zero endurance. No, actually, I sometimes do jump on the rower and use it as a warm-up, because when you're rowing, it's like more of a full body warm-up instead of just a treadmill where I just feel like you're just moving. So maybe answer a couple more. Where are we at? We're already at 15 minutes. Hopefully you guys are still around. I'm gonna pick 2 more questions. Here's one from Jay Hallgarn. What can I do to stop my butt and hips from rising during the bench press? So the solution that I would say would help most people is just adjusting your foot position. I know a lot of people want to tuck their feet back. They think it's going to give them more leg drive, and it might, but it also might give too much. It might allow you to have too much leg drive where your butt is coming off. I'm assuming that's what's going on with you. I would just simply recommend to slide your feet out. So if you're tucking them back, slide them out in front of you a little more, so that way you still have lower body tension, but you're able to drive your feet through the floor and your hips and your butt don't come off the bench. And you're gonna have to keep experimenting with that to find that sweet spot that allows you to have maximum leg drive, constant lower body tension, but keeping your hips and butt on the bench. One more from One Adam 12. What do you think about the 5-3-1 program? All right, so the 5-3-1 program, it's a solid program. I mean, there's nothing really, I don't have anything bad to say about it. It's been proven. Probably tens of thousands of people have used it and had success with it. But the way it's set up, pretty much just standard linear periodization. You can only run 5-3-1 for so long before you're gonna have to move on to something a little bit more advanced. So maybe you run 5-3-1 for 6 months, you get a lot of good results. Maybe then you can modify it. There's ways to modify it, I know, and you can still, you know, use that style of program. Or maybe you look into something more DUP, something more along the lines of DUP, which is daily undulating periodization. So a little bit more advanced, I would say, something that intermediate and advanced lifters typically use. It's just going to have varying intensities throughout the week. A lot of times people will set it up as a hard, a medium, and a low, or like as far as the difficulty, hard, medium, and low. So every day is a little bit different. It allows you to continue to build through each week. I feel like just interest-wise, it keeps my interest a lot more. Not really sure what happened here, guys. Just coming in with a quick voiceover to wrap up this Q&A. Something happened when I was transferring the file, but anyway, it just cut me off mid-clip. But pretty much just wrapping it up. You know, linear periodization, it's great when you're just getting started. Eventually, I would recommend you experiment with some DUP. Just keeps things more interesting. Every time you come into the gym, you're, you know, hitting some different rep ranges. Just keeps things fun. So I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. I appreciate all your questions. Again, those of you who haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. More content to come on a regular basis. And hit that like button if you liked the video. Let me know if you like the Q&A. I will see you in the next one.